The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 3 of season 2 of the GOAT series. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler, and today I'm going to talk about the greatest Bears player in franchise history. The Bears still suck because they're the Bears.
The Bears.
And I'm going to go with the rules here like I always do on the GOAT series, which is I choose 5 candidates that I think could be the greatest Bears player of all time. And I'm going to have honorable mention in there because you got to give honorable mention to some players. And at the end of the video, I choose my ultimate Bears player from those 5 candidates. And the criteria I always look for is looking at their accomplishments, their tenure with the team, how they played, how they scheme-wise, what were the stats with the franchise, and how were they on and off the field. And as I always do, I do honorable mention because you got to give honorable mention to players that almost made the list, but they need to get recognized. They need to get recognition now, folks. And I have honorable mention because, fortunately, they don't make the list, but they need to get recognized. So they come up just short. And at the end of the video, I choose my ultimate GOAT. And in this case, it's going to be the greatest Bears player of all time. And is that Cody Parkey? Because I would love to have that right there. Honorable mention. Now, this was a tough one for me because as a Packers fan, I hate the Bears. But watching the Bears a bit, given the rivalry between the Packers and the Bears, this player stood out to me a bit, especially I watched him as a kid, and that is Brian Urlacher. Brian Urlacher played 13 seasons with the Bears. He's a Hall of Famer, one-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's a 4 first-team All-Pro, 1 second-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. His stats, folks, 1,361 tackles, 41.5 sacks, 78 pass deflections. Now, the things that stick out to me with Brian Urlacher, he's very fast, very versatile, and productive. Now, when I remember watching him play as a kid, interception against the Packers in the NFC Championship back in 2010-11, where Rodgers throws the interception in the end zone, and Urlacher picks it off, and Urlacher's run down the field, and Rodgers eventually tackles him before he could even get to the end zone or to the 50-yard line, and the Bears were unable to score in that play. But Brian Urlacher just goes to show he has good IQ, very productive, hard hitter. That's the thing that sticks out to me with this list of the Bears I'm going to have here. And the Bears are known for their defense and hard hitting. They're known for their grit of hard hitting. And Brian Urlacher represents that. He really represents that and helped the franchise a lot. I mean, not only off the field, he did great community work, but on the field, I mean, you could just see him just lay out the quarterbacks, whether it's Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. He would just go at it. Amazing player, absolutely deserves to be getting an honorable mention here. Next on our list is Dick Butkus. That is not a great name. Not a great name, especially for Dick Butkus. Played 9 seasons with the Bears. Nicknamed the Enforcer, Bear nickname, or the Robot of Destruction. Again, he's a Hall of Famer, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 5 first-team All-Pro, 3 second-team All-Pro, 8 Pro Bowls, retired for the Bears, like I mentioned, with Brian Urlacher. He's going to very soon. He retired with the Bears, so will Brian Urlacher very soon. But back to Dick Butkus, his stats, folks, is 27 fumble recoveries, 11 sacks, 22 interceptions, 1,020 tackles. Again, he is the enforcer. And going back to the stats, they're not going to be up to the timeline that we know today of our stats because they weren't calculated all accurately way back then. But this is what I can find on Pro Football Reference. But getting back to Dick Butkus' game, he was a hard hitter like Brian Urlacher. He could make great tackles and just beat you. He would just beat you, knock down the quarterback. He could get after you, collapse the pocket. He was very driven and very hard hitter, folks. As soon as he saw the quarterback, he would go right after it. He had that hesitation and like, boom, boom, He would go. He literally would go. Like he just had it in him and he laid out some of the hardest hits you could ever know in NFL today. Wouldn't be allowed in today's game, but just amazing to see that. I think Dick Butkus definitely deserves to be up here. He absolutely needs to be up here. Next on our list is Mike Ditka. Another great name, but has a better nickname is Iron Mike. Now, for me, I always know him for one funny movie I watched about him, which was Kicking and Screaming, and he was called a Juice Box Guy. I love that nickname for him. Just hilarious if you ever watched the movie. But Mike Ditka played 6 seasons for the Chicago Bears. He's a Hall of Famer, 1-time NFL champion, 1-time Offensive Rookie of the Year, 2 first-team All-Pros, 3 second-team All-Pros, 5 Pro Bowls, retired for the Bears. His stats for the Bears were 427 receptions for 5,812 receiving yards, 43 receiving TDs, and he was the head coach for the Chicago Bears for 11 seasons, folks. 11 seasons. Now, during his time as the head coach for the Bears, Mike Ditka went 106-62, making him the 3rd most successful head coach in Chicago Bears franchise history, led him to a Super Bowl, led him to one NFC Championship game, won the NFC Central Division 6 times. That's what it was called back, like it is the NFC North today. Made the playoffs 7 times. He went 6-6 in the playoffs. He was a 2-time Coach of the Year. Now, the thing that always strikes me about Mike Ditka is he shows a lot of passion. Whether that's yelling at you the whole time or that's being happy, he always shows that on the field a lot. He really shows that a lot. And Mike Ditka he was great as a tight end, one of the best, but he was also great as a head coach, not as a GM. And you can go ask the New Orleans Saints about that. But with the Bears, he was beloved. He was very beloved and helped the Bears create that 85 Bears defense. That is one of the best defense, if not the best defense of all time. So Mike Ditka, he constructed it. He had Buddy Ryan also as his defensive coordinator. Just amazing head coach for Mike Ditka. And he absolutely, if the Bears did not have him, they might not have won a Super Bowl, and they would have 0 Super Bowls, which would have made it even better as a Packers fan. But they got that 1-0 because they have one of the greatest defenses of all time. So Mike Ditka absolutely deserves to be on this list. Absolutely. Next player on the list is Mike Singletary. Played 12 seasons with the Chicago Bears. He's a 1-time Super Bowl champion. Like I mentioned with Mike Ditka, he played for Mike Ditka as that was his head coach for the 85 Bears. Made 10 Pro Bowls. That's insane. 10 Pro Bowls. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Won a Walter Payton Man of the Year 1 time. Made 7 First-Team All-Pro. 7. You're telling me 7 First-Team All-Pros. That's insane. 1 Second-Team All-Pro. Made the All-Rookie team. His stats, folks. 1,488 tackles. 7 interceptions. 12 fumble recoveries. Started 172 games for the Chicago Bears during his 12-year career with the Bears. Second most in club history. He helped lead the 85 Bears defense into allowing fewer than 11 points per game that year, which, again, makes it one of the greatest teams of defenses of all time and teams in general, too. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame. Now, with Mike Singletary, a couple things that always stick out to me. Very passionate, like I mentioned with some of these other guys here. Fearless. He screamed at you a bit here, too. Very smart and had a great IQ playing football. And the things that I always remember about Mike Singletary was the NFL commercial where he takes off his glasses and he just stare at you and you just yell it, just scream your face. And that's the things that always stick out to me with Mike Singletary. He's a very funny guy just watching him, but very fearless too. Fearless and funny at the same time, I would like to say. Now, I mentioned before about Mike Ditka leading the team to the Super Bowl, but he had great players on that team. And Mike Singletary was the leading guy on that defense. He was a leading guy on the 85 Bears defense, and he definitely deserves it, especially the 7th First-Team All-Pro with the Bears. That's insane too, and the stats are ridiculous too, but absolutely deserves to be on this list. Next player on my list is Gale Sayers. Played 7 seasons for the Bears. He battled through so many injuries. That's why he got the 7 seasons. If he didn't get that much hurt, he would have played obviously more seasons. Now, the nickname that I've heard from him is he's the Kansas Comet because he was very fast guy. He's a Hall of Famer. He has the rookie record for total touchdowns. He retired with the Bears. 1-time comeback player of the year. He's a 1-time offensive rookie of the year. 5 first-team All-Pro, 4 Pro Bowls, 2-time NFL rushing yards leader, 1-time NFL scoring leader. His stats, folks. For rushing yards, he had over 4,956, 39 rushing TDs, 112 receptions, 1,307 receiving yards, 9 receiving TDs, 3,172 returning yards, 8 return TDs. And what always say something about Gale Sayers that I wasn't old enough, but reading through articles and researching more about him, especially watching clips on him, was he was very hard to tackle. He's very hard to get tackled, especially known for his agility and his elusiveness. Very hard to get tackled. And not only was he great in the run game for the Bears, but he was also great in special teams. And that's a bonus to me, where if you get 3,172 returning yards and 8 returning TDs, that's pretty good. Pretty good there. And not only was he good in the run game, too, he was involved in a bit of the passing, too. I mean, it wasn't that much of passing back then, but he got involved in that. He got very involved. And being dominant as he was, especially fighting for his injuries, 5 first-team All-Pros, and 1-time NFL scoring leader. It's very hard to have an NFL scoring leader today. It's very hard to see that. But absolutely has to be on this list. I mean, fighting through all those injuries and just still putting up, I mean, the 7 seasons, that still has to get counted for. If what he accomplished in that time for the Bears, that's amazing. Last but not least, before I get to my ultimate Bears GOAT, that is Walter Payton. Walter Payton. Now, everyone knows about the award. Everyone knows about that. But not a lot of people know about what his game was. Not a lot of people know about what his game was. He played 13 seasons with the Chicago Bears, nicknamed Sweetness. He was a 5 first-team All-Pro, 3 second-team All-Pro, 9-time Pro Bowler. That's pretty good. And that's just the beginning, folks. He's a 1-time NFL MVP, 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, 1-time rushing yards leader and TDs leader. He's a 4-time rushing attempts leader, retired with the Bears, won a Super Bowl with them, obviously won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, which I'll get to in a bit. He's second all-time in the NFL for rushing yards, 5th all-time in rushing TDs in the NFL, 11th in total TDs. His stats, folks, over 16,726 rushing yards, 110 rushing TDs, and 492 receptions. Now, things that stick about Walter Payton of his game. Very explosive, refused to go down. He had the stiff arm that he was like Derrick Henry today, folks, of like just not let him go. He was Derrick Henry before his time and just get him going. Like give a little bit of Heisman here, there, boom, boom. He would just do that. He would absolutely dominate, especially the Packers. He would dominate them, which I'm going to give you a free shot, Bears fans. I'm going to give you a free shot here. They beat the heck out of the Packers. They beat my team so badly in the 80s that we were so bad. We were so bad. Now that's changed today. But back to Walter Payton. Just an explosive guy. But the thing that really sticks out to me about Walter Payton even more, just not his game, off the field. Off the field, he was very active in the community, very active of helping out, especially if it's like charity work or if it's helping out the hunger, people with living. He just help out with the Chicago area. He would even in general too. He would just want to help out and make it better. Like not only is it great for like just to be part of the game play, but you want to make more of an impact off the field, and that's what really stands out about Walter Payton. You look today, every NFL team nominates a player who they think deserves to be considered for the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and that award has just gone up and up and up because every NFL player is doing it. Everyone's trying to make it off the field work, whether that's the teammates of like each team. It's just gone up and up and up of the award, and it's pretty cool for Walter Payton to have an award like that. And I would say besides MVP, that's like the biggest award. It's the biggest award to have in the NFL. I feel like it is, but I'm going to put Walter Payton here. Absolutely has to be. If I didn't have him on this list, everyone would be hating me right now, but he has to be on this list. He absolutely has to. And now we get to my ultimate Bears GOAT. It comes down to 2 players for me, guys. It comes down to Mike Ditka and Walter Payton. I just mentioned about Walter Payton. I gave you all about it. Mike Ditka, the thing that really scares me was he's the only Bears coach, given the Super Bowl era, to bring a Super Bowl home to the Bears. But Walter Payton was a part of that. He was a part of that, and they're known for that Super Bowl shuffle. If you go watch that, which, it's not great. It's not great. But Mike Ditka, I mean, he helped create that defense, like I mentioned with Mike Singletary being a part of that, and having all of like the pieces together on that Bears defense. He helped collaborate that. But Walter Payton really stood out to me, especially with the Walter Payton Man of the Year and the all-field work. That really sticks out to me, and the all-field. Like, he was very dominant and is one of the best running backs in his position, too. I think it has to be Walter Payton. Like, what he did for the Bears franchise, like, you couldn't repeat that. You really can't. And the Bears have tried to get someone to be like that, like Gale Sayers a bit. But Walter Payton, I mean, come on. He absolutely it has to be the GOAT here for the Chicago Bears. I think he's the greatest Bears player of all time here as of this moment. I don't think it's going to change for a bit. So I have to pick my ultimate GOAT as Walter Payton. I think he absolutely has to be it. I mean, he dominated his position as like one of the greatest running backs of all time. But off the field work, that's what really sticks out to me. And I think that has to be credited a bit too, especially helping out the community. So I have to give it to Walter Payton here. He's my greatest Bears player of all time and will probably not change. Probably not change unless the Bears get a Patrick Mahomes. Oh, wait, they drafted Mitchell Trubisky over him. Ooh, you could have had that, Bears. You could have had that. Maybe you'll get out Caleb Williams. Maybe. But Walter Payton is my ultimate GOAT here, folks. He's my ultimate Bears GOAT, folks. But, folks, let me know what you got in the chat here. Who is your GOAT for the Bears? Who do you think should be an honorable mention? Who should be mentioned more on this list of the candidates here? Who should be mentioned? Let me know in the chat. And not only leave a like on this video, but also subscribe to the channel if you're not done so. We would appreciate it. Moving on to our next episode, we're going to continue to our last episode in the NFC North, which is the Minnesota Vikings. Skull. Ugh. That's not going to be fun. That's not going to be fun. But that's a wrap for today, folks. We'll see you next time. Da Bears. Da Bears.